Hey everybody, my name is Miss Star. Welcome to Learning Moms ATL. Okay, so I'm super excited you at my YouTube channel. So essentially this is just going to be a place for moms, okay, to be able to help your children. We're simplifying education through reading and shared activities and encouraging mothers to love their children. Okay, that's what we're doing with this channel. So you'll be able to find out all about that on this channel. I'm currently in school, about to graduate with my early childhood education degree, and then also I got a little bit of experience for just working, being around kids. I don't even want to say working, being around children throughout my life and time, being as a homeschool mom and stuff like that, and then just interacting with different families. Okay, so we're going to talk about this today. I'm not perfect. This is just some things that I have seen help with me and my children. My son started out nonverbal, and by God's grace he healed them, shifted some things, and I've been able to see some much improvement and growth. And so I just want to share what helped. But in this video today, we're going to be talking about how to help your child read, because I've seen a lot of videos on the news saying that a lot of children cannot read, and this is very serious, that if your child cannot read, because how are they going to understand worksheets, the world around them? We have to be able to read so we can read anything. But I want to take a little bit of focus off of so much the technique of reading and some things that actually lead up to reading to be able to help you. So we're going to get right into it. Okay, so the first technique I really have for honestly like getting your child geared up to read, even depending on their age, but I would just say this: connecting with your child, and so they know that you love them. A lot of children that I have met that are not my own kids, or just being around other kids, there's a complete difference from a child who believes their parent loves them and wants to be involved with them, versus a child who feels left out, who feels like they're not important, or like their parents don't want them around. Irregardless to if you have to work, because I hear this a lot too, where parents will say they're tired, and I 100% get that. Let me just tell y'all that too. But it took a situation that happened for me to get out of that. It was some years ago, but when I noticed at that time when my son was nonverbal, I was working a full-time corporate job, but I was working from home. And it was because of that situation. It was like God opened my eyes to show me that. And the moment that I saw that, I didn't have a choice about, oh, I'm tired now, or I'm not going to do this anymore. No. Because now I got to shift my focus and responsibility, because my job, I need a job, but my child is also important. So I'm going to have to take the time to sit down with them. I'm going to have to take the time to, okay, no, don't do this, actually redirect and be involved. So I want to say the first thing you need to do to help your child, especially with getting them to read, just depending on their age, spend time with them, do shared activities with them so that they will be willing to listen to you. We are the parents, but you cannot just be like, oh, well, you're going to do this because I want you to do this. If you don't play a game with your child, if you don't sit there, and I know some people are like, oh, I don't have to play with my child, I don't have to do this and this and that. You don't, but you want to connect with them. Find something to connect with them, even if you don't want to play. It could be something as simple as drawing with them. Building that connection with them is going to help them learn. And I don't have the exact science for it. I'm telling you what I know though, because when you get older, these children get older, and it's interesting, they were saying older children didn't know how to read. It was because they're getting passed on to the grades, because they're learning how to, okay, maybe I can just do this so my parents won't be mad, or I know how to keep them at bay or keep them out of my hair. Because a lot of parents are, oh, I'm going to punish you if your grades aren't right. So they'll try to maybe like sift through some things, but they might not really understand. And so they're performing. And then when they get a little bit older, their performance starts to decline because they only did things to please the parent. So if your child is struggling to read, especially if you're going into 4, 5 and older, spend quality time with your child. Don't force your child to do something when you don't know them. You have to be able to connect with them and love them where they are. The reason connection with them is so important is because you're going to learn things that they're good at and they actually like. And y'all, this is the most exciting part, because each child is different. Now I have my own 2 children. It's a boy and a girl, and they're 5 and 7 years old. At each age, they were also different. His 5 years old and her 5 years old, completely different people that I'm dealing with. But you finding out through shared activities, you're like, okay, they he likes this, he likes to learn with math, okay, and she really is, you can tell her what to do and she's gonna get it. But my son is maybe more visual, so I have to create things and figure that out. But I will only learn that through actually spending time with them. So when you spend time with your children and you just kicking it with them, you're going to observe their behavior. You're going to observe things that they like, things they like to watch, things they don't like to watch, games they want to play, things they don't want to play, touch they like, touch they don't like. Maybe there are certain things you're going to find out about your child through spending time with them, right? So, and when I say touch, you'll find out, like, if some children like Play-Doh, but some kids don't like how I feel, and that's what I mean. You'll find out if they like things on their hands, or if they don't like things touching their hands, or if they like things touching their feet, or if they don't. It all affects how they learn, because it will then help you create things to help them learn. All right, so the next thing that you can do is find shared activities with other children that involve the activities that your children like. So if you connect with your child through a shared activity, and we're going to say, for example, let's just say chess, right? What you're going to do is if your child is interested in chess, just depending on how old they are, or let's just say, even if they're 4, let's just say they're 4, and I mean, there are some 4-year-olds who are playing chess. My son started to play chess at 4. So let's just say they started playing chess, or they started doing some type of, any type of game, or anything that they like, right? And let's just say you find their interest in it with another child. So it could be like tennis practice, they like tumbling, flipping, or whatever. You can get them in a little gymnastics class. What you're gonna start to do is build their excitement, build their language, and build what's going on in their day and in their life. Why? One, because they're going to be excited about it, because through spending time with them that this is something that they like. Once you're doing something that they actually like, they're going to want to talk to you about it. Now, I don't know how old your child is, but they might not be able to communicate it all the way, but they're going to be like, hey, like, this was so exciting, this and this, and they're going to say it in a different way, right? They're not going to say, oh, Mom, this was so fun, exciting. They might say, Mom, I had so much fun. Oh, this was fun. Oh, they'll try to repeat to you maybe some moves or things that they learn, and it's going to impact how they actually show up with you at home. And so this right here is so good, because this is going to get them to the place where their brain is curious about reading, about writing, about learning. The third thing you can also do that will help you prepare to teach your child how to read or write, really just depending on how old they are. So, like, for example, 4 to 5 years old is 4, 5, and 6 is around that time, like, where they're really starting to write, right? So you can find motor skill activities. What does that look like? It might look like them learning to crochet. It might look like them learning to play with Play-Doh, play with clay. They're going to be able to build different things. You can get Lego blocks. You can get a jumbo building blocks. You can get obstacle courses that they can move pieces around. All of those things are going to help prepare your child to read. And I know some people are probably like, that's not really what I want to hear, because this isn't like, I'm ready for them to get to that next level. But the thing is, you have to build them up for that level. And what all those little activities do, it increases the capacity for, oh, now I can remember a word, because I have to remember a pattern, and I have to remember a movement, and now I'm doing something that I enjoy, and I feel confident enough in myself that I can read. And now it's not like, oh, my mama's making me do this. No. This is not mama just making you do this. This is something you want to do for yourself, because you learn it and because you're growing. And I'm telling you, when children are 4 to 5 years old, they want to feel important. They want to feel like they're a part of something. But even children who are older, they want to feel important and part of something too. And so you can still connect with them as well. It's about finding that common ground, because I've met older kids who do not listen or give their parents a hard time because their parents won't connect with them. So you have to be able to do that. That is like the most important thing. Now, we're going to get into the practicality of the reading and the writing portion. So what you can actually do. Okay, so everybody tells different ways. Obviously, I'm in school, so I'm not telling y'all that the way I know is the best way. My way that I'm telling everybody is based off my experience that I had with my son. Right? Having a child who was nonverbal, who is verbal by God's grace, that was a complete shift that I had to make in how I was doing things. Because one, I used to be a tablet mother. I used to be you're going to sit down and watch TV while I work. I used to be like that, and I had to stop being like that in order for this child to be able to get the help that he needed. Okay, so if you are finding yourself, let's say you're ready to teach your child how to read, how can you introduce it? This is not sponsored. There is an app, one called reading.com. I really like that app. That app has actually really helped my son with sounding out words for reading. However, the first thing that you're going to do really is assess where your child is. You learned that through spending time with them. Now you're going to you've assessed the type of child that you have. I'm so sorry, y'all, it's bugs outside, it's flying and stuff. But you're going to assess the type of child that you have. So you're going to find out if you have a person who's more hands-on, a child who learns through video, a child who learns through I want to do it and then talk me through it, or if you tell me, I'll do it, or I need to see it first. You're going to find out what type of child you have. This is going to determine how you teach the child to read. So I'll give an example for my daughter, and even for my son. I think my son was about 3 years old when he learned his first words. And here's what I used to have them do. We used to go to the library, and I went to the Dollar Tree, and I got a dry erase board and a marker. It was $1, okay, $2. And I would go to the library, and I ended up getting some flashcards. And the first word my son learned was go. He learned how to spell go. He learned how to write go. It was simple. It was 2 letters, but I was also teaching his sister. Now, his sister, she learned from the capacity of, okay, I'm going to write these words and I'm going to write them out 4 and 5 times. So that's what I would do. I would write a word, I would trace it, I would make the little dotted lines, and I would have her trace it, I'd have her spell it, and she would do it over and over again, because you can write to learn pattern memory. But my son, I would just show him the one word, go. And he really liked writing with the dry erase marker. And so he probably wasn't writing super perfect. He was 3 years old, right? But the fact that he also believed he was doing something, okay, he learned this is go. Now, a little bit before then, we were learning ABCs. And this is why you got to learn where your child is at. When you're going to learn when you observe and you spend time with them. Because let's just say you're not trying to force no reading down their throat, but y'all having a little fun time, and you realize, they don't really know this letter, or they don't really know how this sounds, and they should. Okay, so you're observing where they are. And so when you know where they are, that's how you're going to determine what you can teach them. Because your kid might not be able to read because they don't even know the a, b, k, the phonics, okay? So you got to slow it down before you try to go teach them all this stuff, then teach them the phonics. So once you teach them the phonics, certain stuff going to add up together. You see what I'm saying? Teach them based on where they are. If your child is a visual learner, I do recommend that reading.com app. That's a good app. I'm not going to lie to you. The way that they teach with the lines and how you sound it out, how versus short versus long sounding A's sound, they're really, really good. I highly recommend those people. But if you have a child, right, let's say they're really not tablet, or they don't really care about that, or let's say they watch videos, you can find a lot of learning videos with ABC songs that's easy to catch to. The children love that. Let's just say your child doesn't know how to spell their name. There are songs on YouTube for children to help them spell their name. In fact, that's how I helped my children spell their name when they was younger. My son, I think when he was about, he might have learned to spell his name at 2. It might have been about 2 or 3. I taught him a song. It might have been 3. I taught him a song, same song, and it's very simple song we found from this woman named Patty Shakula on YouTube. Okay, so it's very, very simple things that children can learn to read, especially from ages about 4 to 6. Find things that they can also do. So if you're going to do words, right, and let's just say you want to encourage writing, get dry erase board markers, get line dry erase boards. You can also use an iPad if you have an iPad and an iPad pencil. Every parent doesn't have that. You don't need that. I ain't have that when I taught them, but it's just something that you can know how to do. You can turn on flashcards on the TV, or you can get flashcards from the Dollar Tree. You can get a Velcro tape board or something from the Dollar Tree as well. Have the children put the words up there. If you make it fun and you make it feel like the children belong, that's what's going to help them read. But the thing that I find is a lot of problems is parents don't want to do that. They're like, oh, this is too much, or I'm tired, I work. And it's yes, but if you want them to read it, I'm gonna tell you this, it don't really got to take that long. It's just you got to keep doing it. You got to do it longer than 2 weeks. You got to do it longer than 3 weeks. And if you miss a day, that's okay. If you miss a day, it's okay if you miss 2 days. I just keep doing it. Even if you only do it 3 days out the week, just keep doing it to build them up. But the biggest thing that you're going to have to do is take the time to connect with them. Because when you connect with your child, that's how you learn the type of child that you have. And when you know the type of child that you have, that's how you know that you can help them. Now, there are some parents who like, look, I just don't got it in me. That's okay. If you don't have it in you to teach with that capacity, but what you still can do is still spend time with your child. Little things that you could do. Conversations could be 5 minutes. Talking to your child and developing language for conversation is more important than reading, okay? Because that is going to help them find the language for when they're actually reading. So find different ways to engage with them, and this is how I would recommend a parent to teach their child how to read, okay? Might not be a conventional answer. I know a lot of people are going to tell y'all phonics and everything like that, which I don't disagree about phonics or memory. I'm not arguing with people about that, because at the end of the day, those things are going to work, but first you got to connect to your child. Think about that. A person who loves someone will perform, or who feels love will perform differently than someone who does not feel loved. And that's what I have to say about that. Your child is going to be different based on how you treat them. So my name is Miss Star once again. I'm going to be Learning Moms ATL, okay, on Instagram and TikTok, and Learning Moms ATL, probably on this YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching. If you find it helpful, please share with another mom. I so want this channel to be helpful. That's all I want it to be. All glory to God. So yeah, comment down below if you have specific things going on with your child you might want some help or encouragement from. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.